Yeah, like
I'd never written a match in less than 2 hours. We wrote it in like 30, 45 minutes. It was me, Nick, KB, Brandon, and I actually in the room. I said, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to. I go, and I was like, myself at that moment. I was like, what was going to happen?
The dramatics.
So
we can't do it. We can't do it. It's not going to happen, guys.
Tickets are on sale for KFC Radio Live. Click the link in the bio. Get yours. Come out and hang with the boys. We got the man himself, the new Trebek. Jeff D. Lowe is in the building.
What's up?
I mean, you actually might be, in terms of the internet and like new, modern, whatever, the most recognizable quiz show host out there.
Most recognizable quiz show host for trivia between 1995 and 2020. It's very specific.
Okay, we know Jeopardy had to replace their host, and then but after that, as far as like quiz shows go, like trivia shows, answering question type shows, as far as I'm concerned, it's the dozen.
I hope to get there. We have a thing down the pipeline that I hope, in the most egotistical way possible, does make me a money bag star. That is the end goal.
Is there? I mean, right now, I'm kind of joking, but I also do think the dozen is a great show. Right now, it's obviously limited to Barstool. Is there thoughts of breaking this out into like the regular TV game show world?
So the two things we kind of have down the pipeline, and it's not a guarantee. We have our own like HQ trivia thing that I think we are going to do. I think that's going to happen, which I think would be a big way to get more eyeballs if we're giving stuff away, and you can just kind of play trivia, and it's won't be too like Barstool centric, where people it's like, hey, you just play trivia, you win free shit.
Yeah.
And like HQ's downfall is still kind of crazy.
Oh my god, they went from having like 500 million people a day to like nothing. Right?
One of the creators killed himself.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
That was one thing.
And then killed himself.
That'll do it.
Yeah,
I thought he
something
died
like that.
of fentanyl, but whatever.
Well,
those two things can kind of.
There's a death. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Right.
That will certainly.
I could be wrong. That could have been another tech guy. There's plenty of tech guys who died of fentanyl.
Either way, that'll stop you in your tracks pretty quick.
So hopefully that grows it. That'd be great. We're going to do like a Barstool Classic type thing where fans can actually compete, and I think the winner of that is going to get a dozen team.
Cool.
But
you know what I mean? Could there just be, I'm thinking about one day if there's like a Barstool channel, if you're on Roku or Fire Stick or something like that, or just an internet like YouTube channel, but you just have like applicants, like you just have. I guess you need the team aspect, so you can't just be an individual, and I guess that's what's different. As Jeopardy and those, you can just apply.
It'd be fucking awesome if we were able to like have this thing that you guys do, and then also have like another show somewhere that's like a trivia show.
I wonder,
a young people's trivia show. It would be amazing.
Do you think that right now? I thought in the beginning you needed Barstool stars to do it. But some of these teams, and no slander to any of them, are lesser stars at Barstool, and I think still hold people's interest.
Yeah.
If you answer questions right on the dozen, you could be 3 producers from behind the scenes.
I mean, your team is you have 2 behind the scenes. Rudy's not as much anymore.
Right.
Rudy's kind of a weird in between. But
right.
like you have 2 guys who are not.
Right.
Like it's not like.
But if you had like 3 nobodies, again, no slight to anybody, versus 3 nobodies. Do you think people would tune into?
No, I don't. I think it'd be tough. I think this show is. There's still you still need a little pop. Yeah. And it's not even as much like star power. You need like an excitement level. Like, there needs to
like a performer level.
That is thing, and I try to like. Yeah. It's a tough thing that we deal with, and not like I'm like throwing anyone under the bus, but there are some teams who are it's like, hey,
no slight.
Keep in mind, like
we're doing this for content.
I know you want to like get these right, and you want to like not chat things out, but at the same time, while you not chatting things out and giving answers away is nice for winning. We're also this
sucks.
This is airing after we review the first 2 rounds. Like his team,
oh my God,
saying things out loud and fucking things up is worlds more entertaining. It's still an entertainment show.
That's what I think that. I think the Booze Ponies have found a good middle ground, but there were definitely times with older teams where like I was like, I just want to be entertaining.
Yes.
I don't even care about winning.
Yes. It is funny how much it's tough though. Like even in a matter of weeks, because what was that match a few weeks, like maybe a couple months ago? I was playing ZD, and the big boys always double snacks. Yeah. So we made our niche category healthy food, and we ended up getting it right. But we were like, even if we get that wrong, because we don't know healthy food,
right?
It's going to be a funny moment for the show. Now, in that quick amount of time, I started to take it so seriously that I was like, well, wait, I want to get these right.
Right.
But when you can find the sweet spot of like trash talking and doing some funny bits, not bits, but just like, a little bit of content while you're while you're still getting them right. That's why I think
that's why the fan vote's 50%.
Well, I was gonna say, so if
and some people don't like that, but
I think we almost need to weight it more. Like if you could do a fan vote, or if you could do like best content moment of the week gets you like an extra point in the game or something. Because these guys like deserve as much as the experts for being, the villains who get everything right. These guys are the funniest fucking team in the game.
It's part of it. Like that's why like we have I won't name names. Don't really maybe catch me another day. Maybe I would. People it's like we need to get rid of the fan vote. Like what's the point of playing?
Just
this?
say
if we win,
Frank?
It doesn't. No, not even Frank. Not even Frank because their fan vote's great. Like people love Frank and the Frankettes, and Frank unlocked something new. He just gets high now.
I heard that he took an edible.
He went.
I thought that
he went down to Kirk's team normally. If he went down like that,
he would have flipped out.
He would have lost his fucking
mind. But did
mind.
he play well? Did he get answers right?
Played like 7-8 points.
I thought that Frank was like kind of like straight.
He got stuff. He was money. He had one stupid guess, and it wasn't even dumb. He had one guess.
Was he high as shit for my fucking phone a friend? Because god damn it, that sucked.
No,
Rowan was telling me he got every other question right. I'm not so sure that Frank didn't take a dive for me.
He's like, fuck Kevin. Yeah. No. I mean, the people say, like, what's the point of winning if it doesn't guarantee you're going to get in? Like, but that's not the point of the show.
I was going to say, like,
I mean, like you can make the same argument with the BCS.
Totally.
Right. Or whatever they call it now. But is it still BCS? It's still BCS.
No, it's college football playoff.
Whatever. I don't pay attention to college sports anymore.
You can tell by the dozen.
You missed it by 10 years.
I would have still to go to the BCS too. So
that is actually the nice part of like kind of getting like comfortable with your dozen teams and stuff like that. Where I'm like,
I check out.
I'm like, look, if I tell you an answer to this, I cheated.
Like, like I'm gonna be on my phone right now because
if I have an answer, I cheated. Okay.
The question could have been, is college football still called the BCS? We would have got it wrong. We would have said yes. What was the? I mean, I guess it's like a little bit Family Feud-esque because you have like your family.
It's more a game show than a trivia show. That is the other thing that I try to remind people of. Like, I wish it wasn't called Dozen Trivia Competition. I mean, it really is a game. It's a game show in a sense. Like,
but I don't split hairs. Like, would you? If somebody told me it's a trivia show or a game show,
right? No one says that anymore. But early on, people are like, well, that's not exactly trivia. I'm like, well, it's more of a game show.
Fuck that.
It's more of a dumb,
those people are assholes. So it's a little bit Family Feud. A little bit like Stump the Schwab. A little bit.
That's a little bit Millionaire.
What's that? Yeah, Millionaire with the lifelines. So did you think of all that? Like you like, let me take this, let me take that.
It was originally supposed to be Brandon Walker plays Who Wants to Be a Millionaire against people during COVID.
Right.
And they said, don't do that. Like, why don't we just do our own branding? Oh, okay, we can do our own branding. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do the show because we'll be back on Sirius and that's our main thing. Oh my God, imagine.
That's right. You were
crazy.
So this started out as a radio show.
It started as it was Big If True on radio.
Big If True on radio. Holy shit.
Me, Ken Jack, PFT. Me, Ken Jack, PFT, Withers, Tyler, and Liz.
No way.
Yes, now I remember.
I thought this was a COVID birth.
And then it was. Well,
yeah.
It was.
But like even that, like, I don't think I ever really put together what Big If True was.
Then we renamed it to Dozen on radio.
And so you guys were just like peppering, like, who won the MVP and blah blah blah, and Brandon would get it right or wrong, and you would just keep track of it.
It was Brand. Well, we did a versus. PFT's like, well, PFT was on our show. We were like, oh, let's do some trivia. So it was PFT and Brandon the first matchup against Eddie, Mush, and one of our callers from radio. We had callers from radio.
Right.
And the first group to do a team was Big Cat Roan and, ready for this, Joey Molinaro.
No way.
and then they said, let's do Che. And then Chicago did a team. You were one of the first teams, the ultimate cheating team.
The ultimate cheaters.
You didn't come in until last season.
I didn't come in because I wasn't invited. I remember
you did actually play. You played the first season. You remember who you played with?
Oh, I don't. It was who was it?
This will blow your mind. I already mentioned one of the names.
Was it Joey Molinaro?
Yeah, and Trista.
No way.
I do remember that now. I remember getting an email being like, "Will you play on our team?" And I was like,
"That's before we really had like firm. We had no names.
I guess so.
We had no names.
But that I don't count that. Once it became like a thing, I thought like I was like, I don't know how you get in the dozen. I thought you had to be like invited, and I was just like, I don't know. And then I don't even know how I ended up with Rudy and Jack.
Perfect pairing though. Worked out great.
Yeah, but do you know? Like, did they come?
I
to
actually
me?
don't remember.
I don't think I came to them.
It might have. I think it was Rudy. Rudy wanted to play trivia.
Yeah.
And I think Rudy. I said
Yeah,
it so
Rudy
it's
did
perfect.
come
I
to
think that was like, well, Kevin has a team. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
That
so
did end up
just
being
go
pretty
grab
perfect.
Kevin, and then we'll find someone else. I think he was like, let's have McCarthy. So that ended up working out great.
And then this guy, when he left the Ultimate Cheaters, as the only honorable man.
It's not even that I have honor. I don't have honor.
You don't care.
I didn't want to put it.
I remember that.
Actually, there was a time where I was living with my girlfriend, and this actually is funny. We already had the stigma of being cheaters, and I didn't ask her to do this. I didn't ask her to do anything, but like I think it was still COVID. It was still playing with over Zoom.
She was helping you,
and she had just like without asking Googled something. And I remember. I don't remember what the question was. I remember what she whispered to me, and she said Michigan. It was college football. It was college something. She's like Michigan, and I went Nebraska. Or no, maybe Wisconsin. I went a red and white team. I was like, I would not know that. So maybe I do have honor.
Yeah, that is pretty honorable.
Totally. But that's almost self-preservation because it is like if I get this right, you know I'm cheating.
And then you guys came into the tournament and
you got exposed because you had to do it live.
That was
got
so
you
funny.
bombed out.
I remember
the point, right?
It is so weird. Like I'm the LeBron James of trivia, which is I just have memories. But I remember that one where we were getting locked out, and I think we doubled it. So I think we got 2 points for it. But it was a 2000 and let's call it 8 ABC comedy starring Tim Allen, Last Man Standing, and that got us on the board.
I remember you yelled at Last Man Standing.
Oh, because you were getting 0 for everything else. Yeah,
shut out.
Now
it was like the last question.
To be fair, when I first started the dozen, I was like, I hate this. I think these questions are way too specific and bizarre and esoteric and like I can't believe anybody gets these right. And specifically sports, which is funny because I know Barstool Sports and I grew up such a sports fan, but my brain just like doesn't retain that sort of stuff, but other people do. But and it seems to have, as I've started,
They are very esoteric. Sometimes.
As I got more into it, I like learned about the pop culture side of it, and it does balance out. But it's a testament that it is the right difficulty.
It is for me to write for you. That is the thing.
Well, that's true too. But just in general, I mean,
yeah.
the difficulty level is correct because enough people here get them right, enough people here get them wrong.
Right, and I definitely, it was an easier season. The scoring was way up this year. I made it a little easier,
which I think is good.
Which I think
it is
better. It's better.
Nobody wants like a 8-7 game in the 15th round.
The hardos do, it's like whatever, and like that is what it is. Our fans are. I love the dozen fans, but they are. They're right up there with Minute fans.
I was gonna say
they're
it's
psychos.
It's Minute fans. It's
they don't like me, so it's like they're
fans,
crazy.
It's those are like the two worst groups.
It's what was it? Kind of exactly what you're saying. We're like, I never really knew the sports ones, and I would get really in my own head, and I'd get like sad about it. And then I was like, well, what? I'm just really good. I'm good at the pop culture ones. So
that's what you came to this team. You made this team like an actual good team.
Well, you really do need that, though. It's like if you don't have
both.
Like I can do the celebrity mash. I can do the chick stuff.
Yeah.
I can do music. I can do celebrity gossip, and I can do like pop culture. And then if I have some people to answer some sports questions, and then we combine for like food and restaurants. That's kind of like a crapshoot, unless you're a fat person.
It's like catering it to. That's why the show is what it is. Like if you want people you should do randomized questions so no complaining. I go, no, but that's not the point. Like the point of the show is to be entertaining, so people can score, get stuff that's close to like stuff they know. Sometimes I'm wrong. It happened in the tournament. There's just some shit that like I thought something like McCarthy would know. Didn't know it. Like I thought, I know
Big T was know a lot.
Big T was complaining. I thought he'd know it. I made NBA a little older. Tried to balance it out for Clemmer to give them a fair chance as you guys. He just didn't know it. It's like, but
the one that the other team gets, he did know. It's just
right.
It's just like if you asked if we went first, we would have got that. If we went second, we didn't.
Like go watch Jeopardy. Like that's like this. If this is just plain ass regular trivia, it's not.
Well, what's funny,
even Jeopardy, don't they have a pamphlet to study from? We don't get that.
Yeah, you don't.
So it makes sense to have rather.
It's the whole point is I want to do best to balance it out. I don't finalize a match when I run through a match. We have 3 people work on the show, not counting the graphics team. I lean on them. So the graphics team at Barstool is amazing. They do an insane job. But in terms of the show, we have 3 people. I edit every match. Every match is edited by me. I write, I'd say 60% of questions. We have one guy who helps. He just writes questions. And then our producer, Gooch, Robbie, who does Light Team of Barstool as well, Bracket. He does all that. He kind of oversees and does social.
Do you do any fan writing questions?
We have a Discord, and they'll help me write some niches.
So a girl came up to us at our live show, and she said, I help write dozen questions. And she goes to me, if your match happens to have a question that you think Famous Amos might be the answer, I'm just saying. And walked away.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
People Discord they send, and so like we go through it. We write the questions. We have to do 3 a week.
I mean, that sucks. Those questions are. I hate the sports questions.
It's not even
writing.
It's not writing one question is very easy. By the way, writing 2 questions that are equal is where it comes tough. People send me great questions that are one-offs. I'm like, you got to find me an equal. Yeah. And there's some you just can't.
That's a great point.
We have a bank of questions that I don't think I'll ever find an equal. So we do that. We write the questions, and then I go through it and I score it in my head. And as long as it's within 2 points, we lock it in. As long as in my head I think it's going to be within 2 points of each other, we lock the match in. Try to get it even as best we can, because you can't account for life. You can't account for bonus round. You have no idea who's going to win that. Can't account for lifelines. So then, as long as within that, we lock it in. Sometimes it doesn't look fair, and that sucks. Like sometimes I watch a match, I'm like, well, that's not going to look.
I mean, obviously, it works.
But this tournament, I think it'd be 1 or 2 people are going to complain to me, and I already know what's going to happen. I think for the most part, though, especially like the second round, I know yours got away from you a little bit, but like, what do you do when Brandon Walker goes nuclear?
It was close until he just went off, and I wonder if the footage will show it. We can just talk about it, right?
Yeah,
because it's gonna come out.
The Final Four hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
So we were up in the bonus round, I think, and if we got one more, we would have won the bonus round. Would have got 2 points. Would have been tied 7-7. Brandon Walker hits. When was the McRib invented? 1981 on the nose. Because he goes, I remember I was 5 years old and I had a McRib. And I was like, you old motherfucker. But that swung it from 7-5 to 9-5. And I turned and I was about to say, that's it, boys. It's over. And I was like, that's not going to help anybody right now. So I think I said something like, well, that's a shame that happened or something like that. But I knew in that moment it was over. And then he did not miss.
I thought you might claw back a little bit when Jack didn't know Todd Reesing, which he could. I love Jack. He complained about it. He was mad, but like that's the only Kansas guy anyone knows.
Well, he said he was like, I can't think of a single.
Because you know the other guy. And Brandon actually double sipped on their.
That was tough.
Football.
He goes. That's embarrassing. You had to double sip on that one, and have a college football podcast. Question to you, Jack. I can't even give a guess. we had I think 3 football questions where we didn't have an answer. I said Johnny Moxley. I was just throwing words out there. I was like, you got to give me something,
but
guys.
You guys did that against Dave this year. Like you just couldn't miss.
Yeah, well, that game was. That's my argument for making questions a little easier. Us versus ZD, we both answered every single question. They missed one. We got all of them right, and it was a barn burner, like awesome classic. I would so much rather than that.
ZD had that in their first round when they went through all of the.
Never happened before. Went through every single answer in the bonus round.
What was it?
It was Super Bowl MVPs. Castellani knew every one, and Eddie and Clem did too, and Dave threw a couple in there as well.
Holy shit!
And then we had to go. I didn't know what to do. So we went to. We just did.
You went back to like 1951 or whatever.
No, it was last 30, but it went to it went to the early 80s.
Yeah.
Because there's repeats, Brady, Eli, so it like goes further back.
Oh, you texted me about that. I didn't know the extent of that.
It was. I was in the crowd for that. It was. Crazy.
It was shocking.
It was like watching.
But Castellani must have been cool as a cucumber. Just being
he was pretty locked.
He'd snap a little bit, and then he'd do his Castellani like.
Yeah.
But it was very, very entertaining.
That's awesome.
They had a couple shots.
So when that happens, because there was also at a live show, I think in Arizona, Dan and Dave did a bonus round way back and forth. Mm-hmm. So when it's like an extended bonus round, or someone's like 12 for 12, or whatever it is, are you just sitting there being like, yes, like.
That is great. The Dan and Dave one in LA was maybe my favorite bonus round. They did like warmest cities.
Yeah,
and they were just that was the first ever live event. Small crowd. That's when I think Dave. That's when I think Dave really bought in for the first time. He's like. Oh,
well, then he got.
I can put on a fucking show.
He's done a great job of figuring out how to be the star while not answering all the bulk of the questions.
He cares about it as much as anyone. It's crazy.
It's so annoying too because we obviously, if you're listening to this, we lost to ZD. And I actually was incredibly sick yesterday. I wouldn't know Oz right now. It was like
I said that after the match. I
was stunned that he didn't know it, and then afterwards
Oz.
he laid in here and he was like on the verge of puking, and I was like, this makes more sense.
It's actually crazy how getting older, like I realized like my brain works like
I used to always think your brain is your brain.
Yeah,
it's not true. If I don't eat, if I don't, yeah.
I'm a little hungry. I got a little melatonin to sleep last night, and I'm not feeling good. I would know this answer if I felt okay.
I said off this show, I could have asked you 10 times. You would have known it 10 times.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it was akin to saying this show with an Italian mobster and his family is.
I haven't seen the show, but
you know
it's not an excuse. I know the show.
I've never seen it.
Not that I was rooting for you guys to lose because it was a complete toss at that point. Like you guys are getting Dave in the Final Four. That is whatever. Like that's cool. But that was a big match. People love to think that I like curve matches for them.
Yeah,
it's funny because they're a bad niche team. They always they always get the easiest niche food. They don't. They're not. They're like 500.
Don't they just do snacks?
But they don't get it.
What?
Dave's changing it. They're not doing snacks in the Final Four. He goes, you got too big of an ocean to go through some different snacks.
That's what he does, though. And
so he said, they saw them do Rocky. He goes, the big boys were getting a movie, and they're watching that movie every day for 2 weeks.
Well, so that's what I wonder. I was a little surprised sometimes by there almost, I think, needs to be some standardization.
There is
because there is
Shea
a movie you can just memorize.
Shea has top 5 picks for NBA draft, but it's a 40-year window. Where if for example you guys did in college to the NBA, it was a 10-year window because it was only it was like a larger
draft.
pool. Right. It was first rounds or something.
Yeah,
like that.
The fun thing. I don't know if you know this. Funny thing about our niche being Rocky IV. That's a Will Compton selection. I've seen it a bunch of times. I watched it the night before the match. Neither of us knew it. Dana answered so fast that no one could really tell. I don't think. Neither of us knew the answer to that. Dana watched it for the first time on his iPhone.
That's probably better.
But that's why he did it. Just watch. What was the question?
It was in the Happy Birthday Paulie scene. What did Paulie want instead of the robot? Like, what did he said he actually wanted?
Yeah, he probably just.
I don't think you said robot because that's what I was gonna say.
Was it then? It was. He wanted it instead of something. Sports car.
Yeah, the sports car. I thought, having watched the movie already, I thought I was like, I know what the question's gonna be. I thought I nailed it. I was so excited.
You knew what the question was gonna be?
Yeah.
What did you think it was?
What did Ivan Drago's wife win gold medals in?
Ooh, that is good.
Well, no, I can't ever ask you that question. there are certain people like Gia has animated movie expert in her bio on Twitter. I said that shouldn't be in there. I said because you ain't ever get an animated movie question now because now it looks like I'm just giving you your name. There's just some things you shouldn't say because now I can't. There's sometimes where I just can't give it to you. But that's So ZD's going to change theirs up. But they had. I should have booted Dana. I should not have let Frank.
That was crazy.
I should.
When he said, "Frank, do you know the answer?"
I'll say this: I saw Frank's reaction, and I thought it was no.
But any sort, you might have interpreted it as no.
So I based it off. He gave you the same face when he was in the crowd, and I he goes, and he didn't know it. Yeah. So we'll see.
But people did know it. He took a dive.
That's the one thing that bothers me. There's when people say that, the Dave thing, because I actually think it takes away the value of the fact that Dave's really good at that role in the game. And it's one of the most important, the more entertaining things to watch. He did it. They're in the Final Four because he didn't listen to Eddie. They're like Joe Kim no, and they're like no. The whole reason ZD got Dave is because Rico didn't play because he didn't want to play against Cons, and they were horrible because they
would talk themselves out of their answers.
And so Dave came in and he stopped doing that. So they were like, no, don't go no, and he goes, no, Joe Kim no. They won the bonus round.
Yeah.
The previous match, they're like zingers. And they're like, no, I don't think it's zingers. I don't know. I guess just go snowballs. Dave's like, no, zingers. And they got it right. And that's just
I think usually if you're in the ballpark, if you know that topic, your gut is probably usually right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He even knows one thing that Booze Ponies we gotta huddle up and get better at in the future going forward is using our lifelines. But even Dave's good at that. He knows when to play a lifeline.
He knows the lifelines as well as anybody.
Very frustrating.
He did it the White Sox. Dave. They played Chicago this year, and White Sox Dave. They've played third most matches in show history. He's like, we double sip here as a steal, and Dave's like, It's a steal. He goes, you dummy. How many of you played? He goes, you don't know the rules of this game. It's just the one thing where, like, people, when they talk about Dave, they just want to yell at me that I'm just grooving matches to him. But I'm like I go, stop with that. Like, appreciate the fact that this is, like, entertaining.
And he's taking it.
It's like Dave's taking it as seriously as anything in the world.
Like, he wouldn't do a podcast when it was like, this is going to make you millions of dollars. He was like, nah, but I'll do the dozen every single time.
It's incredible.
He takes it seriously. It's hard to get him into things, so when he's into it, it's fucking awesome.
I would argue Dave takes the dozen more seriously than anything else he does right now. Maybe things outside of Barstool that I don't know about, but like in his Barstool,
totally.
Like
totally.
What he does
I thought you were about to say takes the dozen the most seriously. That clearly goes to one man and one man only. You are keeping Kirk Minahan alive. No. I'm not kidding you.
He said yesterday he basically said the mini golf was irrelevant to him. He's like, this is now the greatest thing I've ever done.
I think his children would be fatherless. And you know what's so funny? He was on our show yesterday, and he goes, he said, I'm retiring after this year. And then he got one playoff win, and I go, so you're still retiring? He goes, well, I don't know.
That was a tough one. I will say that one. That is like kind of the cool thing about it, and I always post after the tournament. I did it yesterday. I always say I've done it 3 years. I do it like I'm acting like I've done it for 50 years. But I post the grid of all the teams. Yeah. That's my favorite. I love taking a picture of all the teams, and I love just making the grid of all because I think it's the coolest thing. Especially now that we only had one person out in office, and Patty asked his fiance, he's like, can I go to New York before the wedding? And she's like, no. So he tried. He tried to be here. He's like, all right. I gave it a shot. And then he goes, what if it's just one day? She's like, no. And he was going to go to Chicago if they made it.
When is the wedding? Like
tomorrow. Okay. So he's like, no.
That's fair.
But I get kind of sentimental. It's like, you guys played what, like 10 times here? You guys played a bunch. You're like, I'm really appreciative of that. And so like you have Frank Gatz who played for 3 years. Kirk, I'm like, God, like one of these teams have to like die here today.
Yeah,
like that's your first round match is another tough one. It's like two teams who had brutal losses, like you or Smock, like Titus just flies in for one. It's like, man, it's tough. I don't see both teams.
Lose. It's funny. Sometimes I'm in dozen mode and I'm like, it's the most important thing in my life. And then like yesterday, the Yak was running long and it was pushing back our match, and then it was like right on the border of like I'm about to miss real life responsibilities, and I snap out of it and I'm like, what am I doing? Like this is a fake trivia league. Like I gotta go, guys. We gotta go. Like come on. Like it is important, and but it depends. Sometimes I'm in like when I got nothing to do and I'm like really into it. I'm like, this is the most important thing in the world to me. Other times I'm like, guys, come on, relax. Like when I see some of the teams, the way they react to losses and questions and stuff, sometimes I'm like, are you an adult? Are you a child or an
there
adult?
Is a
like,
level
give me a
of
fucking break.
There is a level of, and not whatever. I'll sound like a bitch here. There's a level of disrespect, and I got a little pissed this week. There's a couple times I was like,
with players or fans?
Yeah, with players.
Players.
I was like, you gotta chill, fuck.
Yeah,
like you gotta. Like I need you to take like a step back.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple people who could probably be an asshole to me because like you don't owe me your time. Nobody owes me their time.
Yeah.
But like you especially don't owe me. Like Dave, you guys probably don't owe me your time at all. Like you don't. But there's a couple, like there's some people who like bitch and moan. Like,
it's like, bro, this is the best
chill
thing
the
you
fuck
do.
Out. Like a 5 minutes. Like you don't owe me your life, but like maybe don't like stand in front of me and act like I'm like ruining. Like chill the fuck out.
I will admit that in the beginning
much.
of the dozen, I remember being like, so what are we all get a cut of this action here? Like like we're all making this show happen. And then when I played in it and I realized like the question writing and the work that goes into it, I was much more like, you deserve everything.
And I hope
I don't know if I would cry every year at the end of giving a speech like you do.
That first year was so I didn't. It was only the first year. That first year was so. Keep in mind though, the first year.
No, that was an emotional time for you.
The first year
right?
we did every single match in a 2-day span, every single match. And keep in mind when I write so, I had to write ahead of time the second round. I had to write a variation
of all the different matchups.
For your area, though, I had to write a variation of you guys versus Experts, Misfits, Family. Smockin versus Experts, Misfits, Family. Experts versus you.
I don't realize that you, you think it matters that much. Like you think the questions you wrote for me versus Smockin is like it wouldn't work if it was me versus Booze Ponies. Like I think it's still
for some teams it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
for us it does. Like Frank Gatz, they only get one college because they don't know all college stuff, and I balance that out a little bit. Like I'm not going to give them both. I balance the matches.
Can we stop getting college questions?
Yeah, but Jack's good at them.
Yeah.
If you guys say you're not, like That's like when you guys play a certain team. You didn't get college basketball yet. Who'd you play? You played the Honkers, for example. Excuse me. They don't know. They're not college. They're not college sports. If I give them 2 college sports, they're done. Like they have no shot. It's called stacking the deck. It's illegal in regular game shows. We're not a real game show.
But that's why it's content.
But that's why I make it even. So I balance it out a little bit, and like there's another thing that comes your way that helps for sure. Mm-hmm. Like that's how it always kind of balances out. So I have to write a bunch of those. And for the first year, I had no question help, and it was 2 days. We had a little help, but it was like 2 days.
Yeah, you were on empty on that one.
And I was legitimately like I had nothing in the tank. I didn't sleep overnight. I just was here. I had a mental breakdown before the championship because we had to write it in. I'd never written a match in less than 2 hours. We wrote it in like 30, 45 minutes. It was me, Nick, KB, Brandon, and I actually in the room. I said this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to... I go... And I was going to kill myself at that moment. I was like, what was going to happen?
The dramatics.
So
we can't do it. We can't do it. It's not going to happen, guys.
When it wrapped, I just like... I had nothing. And then last week...
That picture of you is so funny.
Oh, my God. It was brutal.
And Frank checking his watch.
I know. I was fighting it back so hard. I was like, fuck it. So I got no shot. And the last year, 3 days was easy. And this year, now we've gotten so good at writing.
I mean, when somebody finds their thing, and like hones in on it, and it comes to fruition, it's a big moment in your career in life. So
that was also like professionally, right? Because like that was I remember your blog afterwards, and I think fairly recently before that, Dave had like called you and Ken Jack into
right. It was a ways after.
Okay.
But it was still like it was
like the culmination of all that.
Yeah, it was kind of my thing that like really took off, and I'd appreciate everyone that like came in and did it because it was a stupid COVID thing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like shout out to it was like a couple people here who like really believed it, like MB and Hank, people behind the scenes Hank, but like it's like it was 2 people from MB and another.
I mean, I had always
Hank,
thought
so they bought into it.
Day one at Barstool. Not day one. Once we started gaining more personalities, I was like, we need to have a game show of some sort. And I remember Pat McAfee did like one game show or something like that, and never did it again because it was like a logistical nightmare. And they were like, "No, we're not doing that anymore." And I'm like, "That's not like that." That's a bad idea. Like, there's something here. And I was thinking more about, like, Barstool trivia, us versus fans, or fans versus each other, or something like that. It was ripe for that. But it's a fucking lot of work to make it happen.
The thing that I'm, like... The thing that I love to see the most, and you posted on your Instagram story yesterday, is that I like seeing everyone here yesterday. It's like, we don't get that anymore.
No. Yeah. No, it's the one thing that we all do together.
See.
Yeah. But it's also, like, we've been... ragging on HR for their stupid, corny ideas on how to like do stuff together. It's hard to get strangers, coworkers, some of you are friends, some of you are not, some of you are perfect strangers, together to do something without feeling like it's kindergarten and the teacher is like rallying the class together. So when you find something that everybody does enjoy doing, and there's an element of competition, there's an element of content, there's fans, there's all that shit, it's super rare. So, I mean, there's a reason why everybody does do it. There's a reason why like the fans like it. Obviously, as much as they fucking complain.
It's not just the fans either. I think within Barstool, we were talking about that with Dave, or this is what I'm passionate about. I think that it brings the company together the most. I had a 5-minute conversation with Gia the other day.
Yeah.
Like recounting a match.
You know what?
And I was explaining to her how our match with ZD went, and it was like, I don't have anything against you. Obviously, I liked you, but I don't.
You would never talk to her. I said to her, I go. She sits right out there, So I walk out, and she's got her headphones on, and I just like appear in front of her desk, and she like looks up at me, and I go, "Will you go against your sister?" She leans back, and she looks up, and she goes, "For your mom, I will." She goes, because when I missed one, Rudy brought Gia on as my replacement.
Oh, right.
And then she was so good that Bob Fox was like, "You're on my team." She was like, "You guys."
Mintzy didn't want, by the way. Mintzy didn't want her.
Really?
He's like, I don't know about that. Let me think about it. And then Robbie traded him.
But she goes, "For your mom, I will. Like, I'll go against my blood because you guys brought me into this." That's the kind of shit that like you can't get that at Wawa.
It's like I was taking a picture of Minahan's team, and I looked over, and it's like former NFL leading rusher Arian Foster, and it's like Rico Bosco, Quiggs, like just like it's just the funniest combos of people.
Like Jack McCarthy, I never said more than 2 words to, and now I text them on the side, being like hyping him up or making him feel better. We'll get him next time, champ. Like like shit. That it's like
and it's
crazy.
The cool thing is too, and we're not like We do well. We don't do we're not breaking records on YouTube by any stretch.
I was going to ask that. What's your high water mark? Like, what was it for views?
I think the Arizona, the live Final Four, and granted that's like a combined, so it's tougher to read. I think it was like probably 400,000. I think. But weekly we get anywhere between 90 to 100,000. I think there's a sweet spot we got to find. I think the season drags longer than it probably should. But we have to find that sweet spot. But I mean, we still were consistently getting 100,000 views.
What I think
within the week.
What's tough for you
within those 2-3 days?
That's a lot, dude. I think what's tough. It probably feels like it drags, but you got 30 teams.
That is the issue.
It's like I would play 20 games if I could, but
that's what I wish I could. We had every team play more. We balanced it out pretty well this year, and I like to see that. It's a thing that I'm gonna have to talk to people too. It's hey, I just want to do I limit it?
I know that's.
I have this. I had a nightmare thought last night where I'm do I we had to relegate 4 teams this year, and I was like,
oh, you did.
I'm a bitch. I didn't text any of the teams. I just you're gonna find out via Twitter. I feel bad. They don't owe me anything, but I also have to remember. I also don't owe them shit.
You relegated
it's not like
them
they pay
from
to
the
play.
Tournament or from they don't play anymore?
They relegated in January. 4 teams got the boot in January.
I think they know. Come
on. How are some teams foreplay being so bad? How are they so bad?
They just
foreplay is terrible.
Yeah, they're
but it's Riggs, Trent, and Frankie. Those are 3 pretty smart guys.
It's not that though. It's not
you
smart.
You got to know the right mix of stuff. Though they started to get it a little bit this year. They had some tragic losses. They did win their last fight. They beat the Honkers.
You also figure out in the beginning, now we know we double our music every single time. We're 14-0. So that's 2 extra points there, or an extra point there. That kind of stuff. But
you got to know where
it's more about the balance.
You can't be calling on something that doesn't need to be called on. You got to save it for when you may get it stolen. You got to know the game really well.
Yeah.
That's why the certain
you got the double sip when you're between.
Yeah.
When you narrow it down to 2 things and you've said that out loud, you have to double sip because then the other team's just gonna have the ant shit like that.
There's some calls where it's like yesterday, fatal thing for the Frank-Cats yesterday. They did not get. They had to call on their mashup. Calling on a mashup is, it's tough because it's gonna probably get stolen potentially, but you kind of need to know it. Mashup is a thing you got to know.
Yeah.
Because now they didn't have.
Mashup, I feel like it's gotten harder.
They didn't have it for college basketball, and then Rico stole it.
Yeah.
So it's that they needed to save that.
And that's
a
2 or 3 point swing.
Yeah, they missed their mashup. I was pretty shocked they missed it, and that ended up being the difference. Everything was different with overtime. So
now we're talking about how much everyone here loves this game and how awesome it is, and yada yada yada. You clarified, but you put quite a scare into I think everyone last night, where you said next year might be the last year.
Yeah, I did.
Having talked to you, it seems like that's not going to be too true. And again, you kind of clarified last night.
Yeah, it was I'm kind of kidding. Though I always worried about getting stale. I always do.
We talked about it a lot. We've talked about it ad nauseum with Saturdays Are for the Boys and how when people were this shit is so played out is when it was its biggest money making success. And it's you know what? It's more actually though comparable to a TV show where writers are usually I have 4 seasons in me, and the network's we want 8, and you're let's do 6, and you kind of. Because you don't want it to drag on, but something like this, Jeopardy can go on for 40 fucking years.
You guys at the end of last season became more established. You're firmly one of our staple teams. You guys were throughout the year. I think this tournament makes you guys. You were going into the tournament, but now it's a whole different thing. The Booth Ponies are a staple team.
I do.
So I think I need that to keep happening.
I think that happens every year.
But Dave's worried about
the final of last year. All of a sudden, next year you're really into it.
There is
had
that.
something that was wasn't there supposed to be something this year, or maybe last year, that was the dozen on steroids or something like that?
Extreme. That is still happening.
Is that that
show.
worries me?
No, that's a me and Nick Terani project.
I'm just saying that should be separate.
It mostly
I think you
is.
should keep a dozen.
It's
because I think
it's
people will watch this forever.
It's our version of Double Dare.
That's fine, but I just don't think that should become the norm.
Oh no, it won't.
Because I don't think you should worry about
that's
getting
more
stale.
of an offshoot.
Bro, Family Feud
we're not
doesn't
doing
get stale.
anything from now until October.
Yeah.
From June 8th through October, we're off.
Right.
So that's
I
kind
get
of
what
what
you're
that.
saying.
It's a little
here
are the teams you know and love. Here's John falling down the stair, a slippery staircase. That's basically what that is.
I think what you should do more of is what you did. I think at the All-Star break. You do just music, you do just pop culture, you do these.
I want to do a 1v1 tournament this summer of 8
Sure,
people.
that kind of stuff is cool. But I think people will watch this. Forever.
It is.
I think
it's a very fun premise for them. It's fun
us getting
for
the
us.
HQ trivia thing is a big thing that I want to have happen twice a week because we do have a lot of non-Barstool fans. Big Cat made that joke the first season. He's like, I got all these people yelling at me when they were like, when they didn't really embrace the bad boy thing, and they were just kind of mean in there to all the teams, and people were really mad at them. Mick, it's like, I'm looking at all these people tweet at me. He goes, none of them follow me. He's like, these are just, and that we do have that. Like, we also have a pretty strong female fan base, which is neat that we're not just. That's why I love leaning into pop culture.
What you really have, I think you have.
But I'm still cautious of it.
I think you have sit down and watch on TV type viewer.
That's why we moved it. We moved it to night. People were so mad at me. But I'd rather. But
whether they watch it live or on demand,
right, I think it's like
you sit down with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, who you live with, your guys, and you put it on and watch it that way. And that's pretty rare. Because we all try to get people to do that for podcasts because we want YouTube numbers and we want video and all that shit. But we're putting a square peg in a round hole.
We used to be at 10, 11 a.m.
This you went from audio. It's a video product.
And that's what means, I guess, the most to be there. And like, we've tried to do plays for like the Barstool main page on Instagram. Like, we don't even go up on the main page. That's not a shot at like Yasna. It doesn't translate. Like, that's not what we are. Like, we have TikTok and stuff, but like,
I think there are
my main thing
things,
is,
I think if you put there, it wouldn't do good like right away.
The in-person stuff works,
but if you did like the headlines like trivia team answers the exact same wrong, I don't know how you would word it, but that kind of shit.
The in-person stuff works. I think the stuff on the Zoom format is just tough.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
In-person shit does work. We've had some really good in-person moments that have worked well.
Because I think whether you know the show or not, like I just did a 1 Minute Man on Wheel of Fortune the other day, and it's like my audience is not a Wheel of Fortune audience, but you see a headline about like the worst puzzle in history, and you just watch that kind of shit.
Yeah,
that's why game shows work. It's like everybody knows them, and everybody, So if you have a moment that transcends like the Barstool bubble. I think those kind of things.
We've been lucky that the Zoom thing hasn't killed us. Like, because a lot of like people say
that keeps it alive because getting it together in person all the time.
It would never happen.
Never work.
Yeah, and which we do up the. I know people love to rag at me for my editing mistakes. Whatever. Got to write 3, film 3. I mean, it sucks. Trust me, I'm embarrassed when it happens. But I got to write 3, film 3, edit 3 in like 3 days. Happens? We always have a little cut. We got way better at the end of the season. We had a better like check process, but sometimes we just don't have the time to check the fucking match.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I hope,
I like that though.
So, but that is like. That is the thing. I try to at least keep the look nice, where you're not like watching a dumpy Zoom show, which is like.
No, I mean important. But
you're right. The appointment thing with the show is very like when people tell me and they talk to me about the Doves and they say I watch with. I'll tell you what. I get most DMs I get on Instagram are from someone who's clearly in an engagement photo or a wedding photo. They're watching with their husband. Because it's like it's a Barstool thing that like
it is good for boys and girls to watch together.
And that's very important to me. Like that's
I've gotten that a lot. Like I high-fived my fiance last night when you got that answer at the last second or whatever, and it's like
I got stopped in the airport to go into LA. And it was this group of girls going to a bachelorette party. They go, we need a picture. Our boyfriend would be so jealous. Like, I'm glad you watched the show. Like, that's awesome. That I want to make sure that literally anybody can watch.
I think that's what it is for the fans, and I think for us, I think it is. It sounds silly, but it's like this is a company full of people who grew up playing sports who had to give it up when they started to suck.
Yeah.
And now are old and broken down and can't even play in a fucking men's league or don't or do that anymore. And now, like, you finally get a little bit of competition back.
I don't think I've said it till I'm like blue in the face, and I don't think anyone has really caught it. But you guys will get it. I just think that we need to even more embrace on like beyond like what the content side does. The fact that we have our own esports league with this show. We have our own sports league.
Yeah.
We have an esports league with this. Like there's and like I wish I had more ideas to like really like.
You mean like we have all the teams ready?
We have teams.
You can go play.
We have fans. We're gonna go to
compete.
Chicago, and there's gonna be fans that do the Bad Boys chant. They're gonna scream for Fran when she does matchups. Like there's allegiances in fan bases.
Yeah.
And it's like I think creatively, like I'm just tapped. Like when I sit down, I think about the show. I just start drooling. I think sometimes I just don't have it. But we gotta have more. Again, the content side gets it. Like I wish, like as a company, we embraced it more, and we're like, fuck, and we do. The company embraces it, like for sure. I feel like there's got to be another someone here has got to be like, we have our own like esports league. We tried to make our own literal esports league with when we went to those jerseys. Yeah, but like we have a thing here.
But like
we have.
I don't know why we abandoned Jenga. That worked too. If your dozen team just played. Wait, wasn't that what it was?
No,
it wasn't.
Oh, they tried the second time.
We had Jenga.
You had teams,
right?
We have that. They have logos. They have stats. They have jerseys. Now they weren't finished, by the way, which is a real bummer. Fuck that guy.
I never want mine to be finished.
Okay, that's fair.
I want my stuff. I want
nothing on his.
But I just I wish we could really oh, whatever. We're not gonna be we're not gonna be like a Call of Duty team that makes millions. But we have something here. There's another level that we haven't unlocked.
No, you're right.
I think you can just now take all the trios and they do all sorts of shit on camera.
Yeah.
In front of for people, whether it is Jenga or table games or whatever.
There are fans of your mom. There are fans of the Booze Ponies. Yeah. When Will says Booze Pound, I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Which again, that's what I try to I'm gonna have to have a hard combo with some teams and be like, hey, you
got to step it up.
The combo, your combinations, you don't need to have 3 electric, insane people. Jack McCarthy's not, he's not a crazy person.
No, but he's
a good guy, right?
He fights with
he plays
with Brandon Walker, and he
you got to do that. But outside the office, he's not running around fucking slapping people. But he turns it on a different way. He's not a content guy, and I that's you got to be more like him or like Rudy or. You need to channel, otherwise you're just kind of a boring team, and that's not the point of the show.
Yeah, I'm glad you see it that way too. Because like I said, there have been times where I'm like, I'm fine. Even when we had an identity as the cheaters, you have to have some kind of
be the villain.
Robbie Fox
be the losers.
Robbie Fox won a championship. He cares a lot about the show, but he said my most fun match I think is when we lost to Foreplay. He's like, it was so stupid.
Yeah,
it was so dumb. But he goes that was hilarious. It's great content.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. It's like anything in life. Don't take it too serious. I say it about Answer the Internet and KFC Radio in general and kind of podcasting in general and 1 Minute, all the shit I do. It is about taking non-serious topics seriously, but not too seriously.
Right.
It's we're arguing about if a polar bear fights a shark in a pool. I'm screaming until I'm red in the face. It's the most important thing. But then also, I'm not going to have hard feelings about the argument afterwards. Because there's also that. It's like Ken Jack doing Get Fucked was amazing.
Right.
And if there was actually bad blood or beef, I guess that's good for the show. But it's also you guys are really are we actually having problems with our relationship now because it doesn't? It's take it seriously, but don't overdo it, and you find that sweet spot, and that's exactly what it is, man. It's great. I for one hope you keep doing it. I don't think it will get stale. I don't think you have to worry about that. I think we can spin it off, but I think it's also, if you got a good thing, at least let it start to falter before you pull the plug. Because why would you? Don't shoot yourself.
You're right.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Though I will say, I was I wasn't looking for the reaction. People were like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "All right, maybe." Keep it going.
I was so sick last night, and I was taking fucking.
I think you're just starting.
Well, I agree.
Yeah. Agree.
I just said, I just bought into it. I think people are.
I
really,
agree completely.
You
guys, your two teams are a good example of that.
And I was like, I didn't have the energy to reply, but I was like, I was sad. I was like,
Will text me. He goes, "Bro, what?" Question mark.
Yeah. Because forever, Brandon and them have played 100 matches by now, right? And the teams that are in it, they might be but I think they're addicted to it, so they can't stop.
They're addicted.
And then the new teams who are buying in are I'm just starting to get a
Fran
taste.
reached new levels here. Fran is kind of the face of the show at this point. She is the most popular player, hands down.
Yeah.
Kirk's won the 3 MVPs. He's there is multiple,
which is so cool for her because she's very popular in Chicks in the Office, but it's all of a sudden she's got a rabid game show fan base. That's insane.
It's cool. I gotta say, it's a long way from fucking Duncan Awards.
Yeah.
That's if I don't do this, what am I gonna?
Oh yeah, what happened at Duncan Awards?
Didn't dress up.
Yeah, I didn't dress up, and that was one of those what do you guys
kind of. I wore shorts and I wore a nice Tommy Bahama zip up pullover. There was some talk about definitely should have dressed up. There's some talk about what you could wear and what you shouldn't wear. And what
was bullshit was Smitty wore the Michael Rappaport shirt.
Yeah, but Dave liked that though.
Right, but I was wearing my gear, but he doesn't like that. So
yeah, I got me and Ken Jack caught the. Oh, I was going to tell that story. I was going to get in trouble no matter what happened. So if people recall me getting pulled in the radio properly, Dave wasn't even really mad about. He's mad about the.
So the Duncan Awards was a few years ago. It's a big award show that we used to do every year. We give out best blog and best moment, whatever it was, internal Barstool Awards, and everyone is supposed to dress up. And then we did it a few years to the point that it was do we really have to dress up anymore?
There was a rumor rumbling that it's whatever.
Yeah,
should have ignored that.
There was a couple people I asked.
I've been there a year
that I thought were pretty influential at the company I don't know, like the CEO, and I was given some information that the director of content did not agree with. But anyway, so Dave got very mad about people if they did not put on a suit.
Robbie Fox, another one. Jared, so I got pulled in the radio and reamed out because apparently, Erica was told that I wasn't doing anything at the company. I was doing nothing. I was coming in just sitting there doing nothing. I was watching sports all day, but the irony of that, by the way. The people who just do that now. Yeah. So
that's what the company.
What happened the week before was I used to do all the graphics for our draft shows, NBA and NFL draft shows. I'd crop out like 200 players and make video graphics for the draft show. I'd help produce up until last year because I was on the road for Barstool America.
I'm sure you were very proud of that, and that was great. That is a glorious waste of your time.
Yeah, so I did that. But it was like whatever, grind, do all that, whatever. So I did that for like 2 years. The week prior to the Duncan Awards, we did that. And now, if you edit video, when you're exporting the video, you're not going to use your computer for other shit because you're going to fuck that up. Like the computer's RAM, everything needs to be running the video thing. So I was doing that for 200 players. So I'd do it, be done, input the next guy, do it. And so I did that for like 2-3 days. And then the Women's World Cup was on, so I just had my computer next to me and watched Women's World Cup. Like Dave actually was watching like Michigan in the College World Series. We were chatting there, just doing that. My computer's there, just doing that. It looked like I was probably doing nothing.
Right.
Somebody narked on me. I have an idea who it is. I have a pretty good idea. I don't want to say it.
Say it.
Not worth it.
We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out. Say it.
I'm pretty sure. So
no
I got narked on. And so he went and I'm pretty sure. I don't know for a fact, but it's like there was a moment in the Duncan Awards that I was like, I looked back and I was like, that's weird. So he, I think, or somebody told Gaz and Erica that I wasn't doing anything. And I didn't work, I didn't do shit. And keep in mind, I was still editing LCB at that time. I didn't blog a ton, but I blogged here and there. Like I was still getting my whatever. Didn't dress up. It gave Dave ammo. Dave on radio was like, "You lose." He took our salaries and combined them and said, "You lose the company this amount of money," and just destroyed us. Said Erica says you don't do any work. And I went to her office. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Yeah. I go, why? Why are you telling Dave I don't do any work? And PFT went in and defended me. He's like, he preps for radio every morning. He does I was still writing trivia for radio. And PFT was like, So I was like in the doghouse dead. That Mandalorian happened. And Dave and I are like, whatever. But like
that's like Trent with the fucking Iowa football. Like these weird things. Like if Mandalorian doesn't come out, you're probably don't work at the
and now it's like talk us to Disney. But it's like it's one of those things. He got narked on me, and I was doing like the most work I'd done since I'd been there. I edited like 300 videos, and then
I remember you defending yourself in radio, and I remember listening and being like, that was pretty good defense.
Well, you know what? There was a time, probably right around then, and I think YP was a victim of this. We were like, as a company, just learning about like behind the scenes work and seasons of shows and off seasons of shows, and it's not just like every single day you grind for 12 straight hours on something and bang your head against the wall and blog. Like there is other ways.
And like
that
doesn't even happen for a year after that.
Right.
Like I head down and if you don't think I did not watch one fucking sporting event in this office.
Yeah.
For like a year. For like a year. I should have dressed up. That was still the crux of that. Like Dave had whatever. Like I was really dumb.
By that just accidentally.
I know Nate did that too. Nate's like he's like I walked out and then it's like
I had a blazer.
Bring the jacket.
And I was like,
just bored and like we had it was like 2 hours until the show and I was like, I guess let's go home and put on clothes. Who gives a fuck? Get them the dirt.
But there was a moment at Duncan Awards when he pointed at me and Ken Jack and yelled at us. And the person who I thought narked me stood up and clapped like this.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
well, then, it's pretty fucking clear.
I was like, man, oh, man. I was like, really? So to this day, that sucked.
No way. I can't. Yeah. Really? I fully can't believe it.
Yeah.
But
again, I'm not for sure, but I truly don't because I truly don't know who else would have said it.
Yeah.
I don't like if it was Gaz, I'd razz, but he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Gaz would have done it in like a fun. Like I didn't know Gaz. When Gaz does that, Gaz does that for content in a funny way.
Yeah.
And so what? So that'd be the only other person.
No.
Man.
Well, and now
Ken Jack, every now and then Ken Jack talk about that. We're like, motherfucker, dude.
Come full circle on it because I think now you'd be one of the last people that people in the office would like.
Well, she told me when I left off, she's like, make sure. And I've had fans be like, dude, you always got to tell people how much work you do. I go, yeah. I go, because the CEO, after apparently saying I do nothing, was going to fire me, told me, make sure everyone knows all the work you do. I go, okay, that's I will do that.
I do hate that.
I will do that for the rest of my time here. I'm not like a contract. Like when I resign, I resign.
Unfortunately,
I'm not like a contract clap, and I won't do that, whatever. And not that, look, if you resign here and you want to do that, like that's great.
Yeah.
But like, I'll make sure when I'm a show that I produce out there, I'll make sure people know that. Like, that's the level I'll go.
Unfortunately, the atmosphere we have here, you do got to do that sometimes.
There is a lot that you kind of touched on it with like knowing behind the scenes. There's a lot, and it kind of happened yesterday, which I didn't fully understand. I just saw a clip on Twitter where like Castellani kind of snapping that like,
oh yeah, yelled at.
I didn't know what that was all about. Because I just saw the segment, the clip. But like Castellani went into the yak and like yelled at Dan about like how people. There's an idea here that people who don't work here don't work, and I think the larger idea is that people who do work here don't work.
There's people who just do nothing.
That's not an idea. That's a fact.
But I think there was particularly in that time when you're talking about probably 2019ish there, and it's still rampant around the office, and I partake at times, and I listen to times, and all that shit. I think everyone does think it's pretty natural in an office, but like. Watching other people's work, and I've gotten away from that in the last few years. But there was in 2019, it was heavy, like particularly with like people who have been here a long time, and like, it's like, oh, I do this, blah blah blah. And I think now everything's just accepted. It's just an open idea. Like 15% of people work.
My only blogs throughout the week are a preview doesn't blog, the video itself, and then if it's live, and like I also probably write as much as anyone in the company, just in a completely different way. But yeah, that was a terrifying time. Yeah. I was like, who the fuck is watching? It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, now I'm a remote starting in August. Like,
what is you're going to L.A.
Huntington Beach.
Wow. What brought this move?
So I actually was going to move to Austin, close to my mom, and I've always wanted to go to L.A., so that was going to happen. Like, hopefully there's some cool shit we can do out there.
Hell yeah.
But I talked to Erica a little bit, and Dave was all on board with it, and Erica mentioned LA too, and wanted to move out there, so why not move earlier? My girlfriend also lives out there, so there's another reason to move out there.
Sure.
It is still close to Austin. That's a much easier flight by like an hour or two. So,
and there's an office out there.
There is. I'll work from my apartment. My office will be my apartment. But also, I will say I was out there I've been out there for a lot since January. Most of what I do is I'm a morning person. I write during the day. We edit, gets posted, and then we record. We record late, like 8, and then it's like, well, I'm up. I already blew through dinner. I'm late dinner, and I was doing it in California, and I'm done by like
it's so
6.
much easier. Yeah.
It's like, holy shit! Like I can eat dinner. Yeah. I can sit down. I can have a real life. Wake up early in the morning, and so the schedule gets tighter, and I'm like. I got to get shit done quicker editing. But I was like, this is a better quality of life. Also, I do like the beach, so that's a whole other. That's another.
You won't have to do the spray tan. You'll have a real tan.
Yeah, I know. This is a very fake tan. Right? I was a little dark this week. I thought. I don't know.
The TV before you it settles in, and then the TV. There was Tommy and you both have done black.
I didn't think you were that bad this week.
I will say the monitor in front of us, people obviously won't see this, the monitor in front of us was tilted, and it didn't dawn on me. When it's tilted, it looks a little darker.
Somebody said to Jeff, like, you look tan, like kind of like confused. Maybe it was one of the guys in smoking, and I was like, yeah,
it was your match. It was your match.
Like, this is what Jeff
Donnie
does.
said that.
He puts the blazer on. He's got the tan and the things on his eyes.
By the way, I wore the worst. We don't do foot content. I wore the worst shoes possible. Look at the back of my fucking feet.
Oh, they're just tearing you up. Oh, it's bruised
and bloody.
You can't even see your feet, can you?
Which is, I wore those shoes to a wedding.
They were nice shoes, but
I wore those shoes to a wedding like 2 weeks ago. Great, no issues. I stood
just standing still,
and it killed me. I did ask Keegs and Fran. I was like, hey, is this too dark? Am I? Because I'll tell you what,
Trudeau over here.
I don't know. I'm not. I'm with you guys. I was basically you when you guys were talking on here about what did you say? Like, I don't think I really read the room after Mintzy got fired. You're like, I was kind of do like whatever. Like, I'm not particularly worried. We're a pretty brand safe. Like, no, but I was like, does this fall into the Mintzy bucket if this can is too dark? Am I gonna
imagine that?
Because as I say, there's one thing you can't say, and there's one thing you can't do. Yeah. Check. We did joke. I joked about it separately with both of you. I was like, because I thought that was so whatever. Like, I don't think. I wish Mintzy wasn't fired. Like, I agree with Dave and stuff on that point, but I also agree with the other side. It's like, we did joke. I'm glad I wasn't in the office, because I don't think I could have handled the cringe of like, Not my Barstool.
Oh.
When could we?
That was
And not to beat a dead horse who we've always talked about.
Always your Barstool.
I said both of you. I'm like, if that's the bar we have to clear, pretty low fucking bar. Like, if that's the one
literally
thing.
the lowest.
Jerry still has my favorite tweet, which is different world now. I was like, different world? What do you mean different world now, dude? He goes, I think he said, I'm lengthening my Twitter edit button. How close are you to saying the N-word all the time?
Like, we really, it's like, we really don't like
It's right on the tip.
the bar is, when the bar is the floor, it's pretty fucking
It's
low.
like you can't commit crimes. This is the regular bar, and then the next bar.
And he
is
wasn't
that.
malicious. Like, I'm not saying it, but it's like
No, but it's the
I didn't wake up that day in this doomsday mode of like, yo,
we're gonna get fired.
Before we let you go, I want to tell you something. First of all, you saw Fast X. You loved it, right?
Oh yeah, it was a blast. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's getting crushed.
Critically stupid
It
movie.
is getting crushed?
Yeah, I saw.
But the
I
audience
saw,
score is fantastic.
I saw that it was
Critically
like,
stupid
but
movie.
like bad green screen, bad special effects, like things that they should.
It falls in the bucket of the ending pissed me off. I will say.
There is no ending. It just ends in the middle of a movie.
Structurally, by the way, have you seen it?
No.
It is The Dark Knight and Infinity
Yes.
War. They saw The Dark Knight and Infinity War and they went, "Hey,
That's great.
Dude, they don't even try. Like,
No.
Jason Momoa wears purple the whole time.
he's the gay Joker. He's the gay Joker." Ken Jack said that, and I told Ken Jack, "You undersold that. He is playing, which actually
He
is
wears
awesome,
purple.
man.
He drives purple cars. He's got green. He's the Joker.
Yeah.
Critically, my critic hat on, like it's lower than a bunch. I love a bunch of other Fast movies way more.
Me too. I would
Right.
say it's probably. It was just crazy because I very much enjoyed it. It probably cracks top 5. But I'm glad to see you very much enjoyed it. It is one of those like that we talked about. Like I want to get, if I'm guessing right now, it's critically in the 40s, audience.
It's always my
80s.
favorite. The
Yep.
the
Yeah.
biggest split between critic and audience score is always. the best
By the way,
movies.
they released a board game. They blew it. They blew
Did
it.
they?
Really?
Stinky game. I played a Rotten Tomatoes drinking game for years. My buddies and I play where you give Kevin a movie. For every 10 you're off, you drink for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you're within 5, John has to drink for 5 seconds, and if you get it dead on, everyone's got to take a shot.
Cool.
And it goes around in the order, and we've been playing that for years. And when I saw they released a board game, I was like, no way. But it's some other stupid shit. They blew it. Yeah.
The fuck, what was I just gonna say? Oh yeah, so I don't think you care about spoilers. I think the ending, the post credits has been wild. I guess people are avoiding spoilers again. If you haven't seen the movie, you care. Turn it off right now. Dwayne Johnson's back.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What?
Yeah, The Rock's back, baby.
They must have broke bread.
Like it's,
But it's the most
like,
egotistical thing of all time.
I can't
Because
believe that's not
It is
more
actually a
talked about.
badass. Well, it also just Variety just said it before the movie came out.
Which I didn't know that. It was a surprise to
Yeah,
me.
that's crazy. So that's how badly I think they were worried about maybe box office.
Yeah.
Either Variety or Hollywood Reporter goes exclusive. The Rock returns.
Yeah.
Which is like it's like the post credit scene. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
exclusive.
That's
And
a
they
spoiler.
even hide it in the post credit scene because that's not him at first. Because
No,
I
it's
was
not.
like, that's too skinny to be Dwayne Johnson.
So
Because they have like some guy come in like in a mask and like,
It's a badass
all that
moment.
stuff.
And he calls me and goes, I'm coming for you next.
Yeah.
And he takes off his mask. And I was like, yo, if this cuts to black, this is the sickest shit. But it's The Rock. And he was like, I need a line. He goes, well, I'm coming for you, some bitch. I'm like, oh, now it's a little lame. kind of ruined the moment a little bit. But yeah, it's not.
Well, I also think that might be The Rock after Black Adam totally
Right.
bombed.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was like,
That is a good point.
Kind of
Yo,
like what
get me back
what Vin
in.
Diesel did after Triple X, which Triple X
Yeah.
didn't bomb.
but he wanted back in on fast.
Yeah.
But even
I
the
honestly,
bomb, like he got dragged.
The
in
way
Hollywood.
the way that people reacted to Black Adam, and they did that, they tried to get him into Superman because he was like, I need this to work. I wouldn't be surprised if he called his agent and said, do whatever it takes to get me back into Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
And those guys were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fucking why not?
Yeah.
And they could have made the whole movie like.
But that's
They could have been like,
he knew
done, and then
Diesel
been like,
wanted
okay,
his
let's do it.
Avengers moment, which I think he's going to get in the final one. He wants like all of them
Everybody
together,
back,
which
yeah.
really worries me that they're going to CGI Paul Walker. But that's,
I think it's happening.
yeah.
See, it's either bad or they should say we're doing it and make
But
it
the
a
family-
thing and
the
have it
family
like
seems
Happy
very
Gilmore
on
in the
board.
sky.
That Metal Walker.
Right. He's like the baby from fucking Teletubbies. Like, the family seems to really embrace it though. So like, you know what? If they're all for it, it still feels.
Yeah, it's
Speaking-
going to feel a little icky.
It's a little icky, yeah.
But Metal Walker, his daughter's in the movie.
Yeah,
like
got
the
it.
family is very
Got
much
it.
involved.
Oh, you mean the family? I thought you were talking about the
No.
actual
The only
family.
thing in the world that we could be talking about where you could confuse those two things. No, I mean like the Walker
Walkers.
family. Yeah.
And to bring it all full circle to wrap up on this, the funniest thing about the Dozen team, the family, was John disbanded it immediately.
yeah.
He created it. He made the name, made the logo, and then he left.
That's, by the way, of all, there's only one person. There's one person that doesn't, maybe two, who have to be like, fuck. Kirk traded Big Ev a few weeks ago, and then John Rich because John Rich traded himself and Rico to Minahan, and then John Rich got Chris Cumler a brick watch. And Kirk traded John Rich back to the family and got Quiggs back. So like,
I love it. Yeah, it's tough.
The last thing before we let you go, I'm sure you've heard of the Fast thing with the car accidents.
Yes.
Where like there's this company putting together, you watch all of car accidents, blah blah blah. That contest has been shifted a bit. It's now the person they select versus me. Counting car accidents for the Fast and Furious franchise.
Wait,
The contest is they took 50,000 applicants from these people. You sit down, you watch 20 hours of all the movies, and you have to count the number of car crashes. It's a car insurance company, and it was just that we need to find out the total number of car crashes because then we're going to calculate how much that would save you in insurance if you were with us. They've now turned it into like a game, which is the correct number because John's going to be doing it.
No way.
So what's?
Because I knew they were doing something.
Yeah, that's good. What's your guess? The total number of car crashes. That's a dozen question. That's a dozen question.
I don't know. I haven't done it. I'm doing it in like 2 weeks.
And because it's like you drive down the street and you hit one car, and then you hit pinball to another, and you pinball to another. That's 3 cars.
There was a scene when like they all came out of a parking. Does that count?
Oh yeah, fuck.
There's
That's
like
in
a
Fast
parking.
8. That's in Fate.
Are they gonna count when? Are they gonna count when? Dom does this and the parking garage collapses.
It's up to him. I mean, he is the arbiter here.
So you just. So
there's no answer out there.
Okay.
It's like he's creating it.
That's the biggest question. You
What
have
constitutes a car accident?
Yeah.
I think it's an accident for that car.
I bet you what you should do is you talk to that company. What do they define it for insurance purposes as a car accident? Then it's got to fall under that umbrella.
If a bald guy stomps the top of a parking garage and it collapses on your car, I feel like
you could put it in a claim.
Yeah, you put it in a claim for sure.
Holy shit!
Everything you could put in a claim for.
Yeah.
Do you have a ballpark?
Nothing. I was guessing 200 per, and that I mean like,
I think it's probably like 10,000.
So I haven't put much thought into it.
It's probably 200 per. But then if you start doing the parking garages, Fast 7 might be. Holy shit!
A couple thousand alone.
So you're like, this is a bad math. This is a bad group of. Are you good at math?
I used to be, but the other day I was doing simple math for my bonus round, and I was like,
"What's 200 times 10?
20,000.
That's 20,000. So I bet it's probably like
2,000.
It's like
2,000.
2,000. I bet it's probably I bet it's exponentially more than that. Yeah, I bet we're missing something you're not even thinking about.
It's gonna be like 20,000 cars.
Holy shit! Because I think if you count the garages, I think that makes it a whole different.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene in Fate.
So I had heard that there was like so you're now looped into that.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch them all. I think in here, and it's gonna be a live stream the whole time.
Guess how much sales sold it for? $0.
I don't want to be it.
All right, Jeff D. Lowe, thank you for all your work. Thank you for your service. Everybody, make sure you watch the Dozen.
I wore,
Final
by the way,
Four.
did you notice what I wore? Because you guys have the comedy people in here. I wore the super.
I saw the super.
Yeah. It's my own. Yeah.
Comedy.
I almost wore the Chip and Joanna Gaines shirt, but I got to wear the super finger shirt. Yeah.
All right, dude. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in Chicago.
All right, big thanks for watching. If you made it through this whole episode, that means you should be subscribed. There's so many of you out there who watch and don't subscribe, so make sure you are a KFC Radio subscriber. Make sure you get all the content when it drops. Click that button now.
I have 9 fingers. I'm still subscribed. It's that easy.